All right, so you're getting ready for the PMP exam. And let's be real, it can feel like a huge mountain to climb, right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that confusion. We're going to give you a clear, simple blueprint so you know exactly what you're walking into. Let's get right to it.
So what's the secret sauce? What does it really take to pass this exam? I mean, it's so easy to look at the mountain of books and study guides and just feel completely overwhelmed. And a lot of people, they fall into this trap thinking, oh, I just need to memorize everything. But I'm telling you, that is the single biggest mistake you can make when it comes to the PMP.
Look, the key isn't about memorizing every little detail, every single tool or technique. It's about really understanding the flow, the process of project management. It's about having a game plan. And that's exactly what we're going to start building right here, right now. Your personal strategic plan for this exam.
First things first, let's just talk about the nuts and bolts of the exam. You gotta know the rules of the game before you can win it, right? This stuff is foundational.
Okay, first big number you need to know, 200. That's how many multiple choice questions you're going to see. Yeah, it's a marathon, for sure, not a sprint.
But, and this is a really important detail, your score is actually based on only 175 of those questions. So what about the other 25? Well, those are what PMI calls pretest questions. They're basically testing them out for future exams. Now here's the catch. You have absolutely no way of knowing which 25 are the trial ones and which ones count. So, what's the strategy? Simple. You got to treat every single question like it's for real.
And how long do you have for all this? You've got 4 hours. That's 240 minutes to tackle 200 questions. If you do the math, that gives you just a little over a minute per question. So you can see right away, your pacing, it has to be on point. It's absolutely critical.
And this right here is the real heart of the PMP exam. It's not going to ask you to just spit back a definition from a textbook, what is a risk register? No way. Instead, you're going to get these real-world scenarios. They'll drop you right into the middle of a messy project situation. Maybe the budget is blown, or you've got a major conflict with a stakeholder. And then the question will be, okay, project manager, what is the best thing to do next? See, it's all about testing your judgment, not your memory.
So, what do you need to score to pass? Well, here's the thing. PMI doesn't actually publish the official passing score. Kind of mysterious, right? But the general consensus, among all the exam prep experts, is that you should be aiming for something in the ballpark of 65 to 69%. That gives you a solid target to shoot for. We're talking about getting somewhere between 114 and 121 questions right out of those 175 that count.
And last but not least, for logistics, how do you actually take the test? Well, it's a computer-based exam. Most people go to a designated testing center. But depending on where you are, you might have the option to take it online with a proctor watching right from your own home or office.
Okay, so we've nailed down the logistics, the how of the exam. Now let's get into the what, the actual content. The whole thing is broken down into 3 main knowledge areas. PMI calls these domains, and they're all laid out in something called the Examination Content Outline, or ECO for short.
Now take a look at this. This chart basically tells you where to spend your study time. It's pretty stark, isn't it? A whopping 92% of your exam, almost the whole thing, is focused on just 2 areas, people and process. The business environment part? Yeah, it's important. You need to know it, but it's a way smaller slice of the pie. Your focus has to be on people and process.
So what's actually in these domains? Let's break it down. People, that's all about your leadership skills. We're talking about managing your team, handling conflict, being a good leader. Think of it as the soft skills part. Then you've got process. This is the technical stuff, the nuts and bolts of project management. Scope, schedule, budget, risk, all the classic project management mechanics. And finally, business environment is about the big picture. It's about making sure your project actually connects to the company's main goals and strategy.
We know the what, now let's talk about the how. And honestly, this might be the most important part. We're going to shift gears from just facts and figures and talk about the PMP mindset. It's a certain way of thinking that you absolutely have to adopt if you want to pass.
Okay, so if you remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. You have to throw rote memorization out the window. Seriously, the PMP exam is not a test of your ability to recall facts from a book. It's a test of your ability to apply what you know to solve real problems. You have to shift your entire way of thinking from, what's the definition of this, to, okay, in this messy, complicated situation, what is the smartest, most professional thing to do right now? There's this great line in one of the most popular PMP prep books. It basically says a lot of project managers have no idea how little they know about management plans until they get hit with it on the exam. And that's so true. It's not enough to just know that, say, a risk management plan exists. You've got to know what's in it, why those things are in it, and exactly how you'd use it to solve a real problem. That's the level of depth we're talking about.
Another huge piece of the puzzle is that you have to be fluent in the full spectrum of project management. You can't just be a waterfall person or an agile person. The exam expects you to be a pro in predictive, plan-driven approaches and in agile, change-driven approaches. And, of course, the hybrid models that mix them both. You need to know which tool to pull out of your toolbox for any given situation.
Now, just to give you a bit of a strategic edge, let's talk about the areas that trip people up the most. Historically, candidates really struggle with a few key spots. Getting the big picture of how all the processes flow together is one. And then specifically, procurement, risk management, quality, and integration management, those are the areas where people often discover they have some knowledge gaps. So my advice? Pay a little extra attention to those topics when you're studying.
Okay, let's wrap this up. We're going to bring everything we've talked about together into your final takeaway. Think of this as your strategic blueprint.
So here it is, your blueprint for success. 3 key things. Number 1, it's a marathon. You've got to be ready for a 4-hour, 200-question endurance test. Number 2, know your battleground. Focus your energy where it matters most, on the people and process domains. And number 3, and this is the big one, adopt the mindset. It's all about application and analysis, not memorization. Think like a problem solver.
So I'll leave you with this one final question to think about. Are you ready to stop studying like it's a history test and start preparing like you're a real-world project manager? Are you ready to think, not just memorize? Because making that switch, that's your key to passing this exam.